London, Horizon 22. City of London, London hacks. 22 Horizon London, Horizon 22 4K 2024. From the top of the tallest skyscrapers, the soft pink and orange glow reflected on glass surfaces, slowly chasing away the darkness of the night. The streets below were still mostly empty, save for the occasional early commuters and delivery vans. The city seemed peaceful, almost dreaming, as if holding its breath before another busy day began. In this calm, Alex Carter walked briskly through the streets, the cold winter air brushing against his face. He carried a backpack with his laptop and notebooks, prepared for another long day at Horizon 22, the technology hub where he worked. Horizon 22 was unlike any other office in London. Its sleek glass walls reflected the city around it, making it seem almost invisible during the day, yet glowing like a beacon at night. Inside, the building buzzed with energy, soft hums of computers, quiet footsteps of employees, and the occasional laughter breaking through the steady rhythm of work. Alex loved coming here. Every corner of the building told a story of innovation. From the rows of computer screens displaying city data to the open spaces where engineers, designers, and programmers brainstormed ideas, Horizon 22 was alive with possibility. Alex was part of a small but dedicated team working on a project that could change the way London functioned. Their work was centered on a digital mapping system designed to make the city smarter, more efficient, and more connected. It could monitor traffic, optimize energy usage, and even predict areas where maintenance would be needed before problems appeared. It was a project born out of curiosity, dedication, and a vision of a city where technology and human life could exist in harmony. Alex had spent months developing algorithms, analyzing data, and testing the system, and today he felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. As he entered the office, the familiar smell of coffee and electronics greeted him. His colleagues were already at their desks, some sipping their early morning coffee, others typing away, fully absorbed in their work. Alex smiled at a few familiar faces and made his way to his workstation, settling in with a deep breath. The city outside seemed to wait along with him, each light in the distance flickering as if mirroring his thoughts. He turned on his laptop, watching the lines of code fill the screen. It was like opening a door to another world, a world where data and life intertwined, where every movement of the city could be tracked, analyzed, and understood. Alex's mornings always started with reviewing the system's performance overnight. Today, the reports showed smooth operation. Traffic data had been collected, energy usage was optimized, and sensors around the city had functioned correctly. It was a reassuring sight. Still, Alex knew that working with a system as large as Horizon 22 came with challenges. London was a living, breathing city full of unexpected events. Weather changes, human errors, and even simple coincidences could disrupt the system. But that was what made it fascinating: the unpredictability, the constant need to think ahead and adapt. By mid-morning, the city had begun to wake up fully. The streets grew busier, and the hum of traffic replaced the quiet morning. Buses rolled by with commuters, cyclists weaved through lanes, and pedestrians hurried along the sidewalks. From the office, Alex could see the flow of the city as if through the eyes of his system. The data visualizations on his screen mirrored real life: numbers moving, streets lighting up with activity, and patterns emerging from chaos. It was beautiful in a way he often struggled to explain. He leaned back in his chair and watched, fascinated by how human life and technology connected seamlessly. As the day progressed, Alex joined his team for a short meeting. They gathered around a large table in a glass-walled room overlooking the city. Each person brought their ideas, challenges, and questions. Today, the topic was integrating more sensors into the older parts of London, places where historic streets made modern installations tricky. The discussion was lively, filled with suggestions, debates, and laughter. Alex loved these moments. They reminded him that technology alone could not improve the city. People's creativity, problem-solving, and teamwork were just as important. After the meeting, Alex returned to his desk and began testing a new software update. It was a minor change, meant to improve how traffic patterns were predicted during rush hours. He typed steadily, eyes scanning the lines of code, fingers moving almost automatically. He tested scenarios, ran simulations, and carefully recorded the results. Everything seemed normal at first. The system responded well, and the data showed improvements in efficiency. Alex allowed himself a small smile. This was why he loved his work, the sense of making a real difference, even in small ways, to the lives of millions of people in the city. But as the day wore on, something unusual caught his attention. A small alert popped up on his screen, blinking in an orange warning color. It was a pattern he had not seen before, a cluster of anomalies in the city data. Streetlights turning off at unexpected times, traffic sensors reporting irregular readings, and minor disruptions in energy monitoring. At first, Alex thought it might be a glitch. He double-checked his code, ran additional simulations, and even consulted a colleague. Everything seemed correct on their end, yet the irregularities persisted. Something, or someone, was interacting with the city's systems in a way that was not supposed to happen. Intrigued and slightly concerned, Alex decided to investigate further. He stayed after most of his colleagues had left, the office now quiet except for the occasional hum of a cleaning robot. He traced the alerts back to their sources, following digital breadcrumbs across the city's network. The further he looked, the stranger the patterns became. It was as if someone was testing the city, pushing limits without causing immediate damage but leaving signs that only a trained eye could notice. Alex felt a mix of excitement and unease. This was no ordinary glitch. It was something new, something deliberate. Outside, night began to fall. London transformed as the streetlights flickered on, the Thames reflected the city lights, and the hustle of the day gave way to the steady rhythm of evening. Alex leaned back in his chair, looking out at the city he had always loved. Every building, every street, every light seemed alive, part of a system far larger than any one person could understand. He felt a strange connection to it, a sense of responsibility mixed with awe. Whatever was happening, he knew that his work at Horizon 22 had become more than a job. It was now a journey into the heart of the city itself. Hours passed as Alex continued his investigation. He followed patterns, analyzed data, and ran simulations deep into the night. He barely noticed the time, fully absorbed in the challenge. Occasionally, he would step to the window, watching London at night, the quiet parks, the river flowing under bridges, the glow of buildings that seemed to touch the sky. It was a city of contrasts, old and new, calm and chaotic, ordinary and extraordinary all at once. And within that city, Alex felt a spark of possibility, a sense that today was only the beginning of something larger, something that could change the way people lived and interacted with the city forever. By the time he finally shut down his laptop, the office was completely silent. The streets outside were empty, with only a few taxis and late-night wanderers moving through the quiet. Alex walked to the exit, his mind buzzing with ideas and questions. Who or what had caused the strange alerts? Was it a harmless experiment or something more serious? He didn't have the answers yet, but he knew that tomorrow and the days after would bring new discoveries. Horizon 22 was not just a building, a project, or a job. It was a gateway into the future of the city, and Alex was right at the center of it. As he stepped out into the cool night air, he looked up at the lights of London shimmering against the dark sky. The city seemed alive, watching, waiting, and full of stories yet to be told. Alex felt a surge of determination. Whatever challenges lay ahead, he was ready. The horizon was wide, bright, and full of promise. And for the first time, he understood that the city itself was not just a backdrop for life. It was an active, breathing partner in the story he was about to write. The next morning, London woke under a clear sky, the sun spilling golden light across rooftops and streets. The city seemed calm, but inside Horizon 22, there was a quiet tension. Alex Carter arrived earlier than usual, his mind still filled with the strange events from the previous night. He walked quickly through the lobby, nodding to a few colleagues who were also arriving early. His steps echoed softly on the polished floors, blending with the low hum of elevators and office equipment. Today, he knew, would be different. At his desk, Alex opened his laptop and immediately checked the system. The overnight data had come in, and the alerts were still there. Slight, irregular patterns that seemed too purposeful to be random. Some streetlights had flickered again, sensors had reported unusual spikes in traffic, and a few small systems had briefly disconnected from the network. Alex felt a chill of curiosity mixed with concern. Whatever was happening, it was not an accident. He leaned back in his chair, staring at the screen. He could trace the patterns, but he could not yet see the motive. Who could be behind this? Was it someone testing the system, or was it something more deliberate? Alex knew that the city's network was robust, designed to handle minor disruptions without serious effects. Yet this felt different, almost like a puzzle left for someone to solve. He felt the familiar rush of excitement, that combination of fear and anticipation that came with uncovering something unknown. By mid-morning, Alex had gathered his core team in the glass-walled conference room. The atmosphere was serious but focused. He explained what he had seen, showing charts and graphs of the anomalies. His colleagues listened intently, exchanging glances and ideas. Each person had a different perspective. Some thought it might be a coding error, others suggested external interference. Alex knew the truth was somewhere in between, but he had to be careful. Speculation could lead them in the wrong direction. They needed facts, observation, and strategy. The team decided to approach the issue methodically. They split responsibilities. One group monitored the streetlights, another focused on traffic sensors, and Alex took responsibility for energy and overall system stability. He spent hours combing through logs, tracing digital footprints and noting patterns. The anomalies appeared random at first, but slowly, a rhythm emerged. Certain areas of the city seemed to be the focus, places with high foot traffic, busy intersections, and key buildings. Whoever or whatever was behind this knew the city well, moving like a shadow through the digital veins of London. As the afternoon wore on, Alex felt both frustration and fascination. The city outside carried on as usual. People walked along crowded sidewalks, buses rumbled through the streets, and the sound of construction echoed from various sites. Yet beneath the surface, something unusual was stirring, something invisible to the naked eye but visible through the careful watch of Horizon 22 systems. Alex imagined the hacker moving unseen, touching the city like a composer with an invisible baton, leaving patterns only he could interpret. To gather more clues, Alex decided to take a different approach. Instead of only analyzing data from the office, he ventured into the city itself. He started with the areas that had shown the most anomalies, busy intersections, parks, and public buildings. Carrying only his notebook and a tablet, he walked quietly observing patterns that might not appear in the digital maps. He noticed small details, a light sensor positioned oddly, a traffic camera that seemed to reset at unusual times, and subtle changes in pedestrian behavior. Every observation added a piece to the growing puzzle. By late afternoon, Alex returned to Horizon 22, his mind buzzing with theories. He shared his findings with the team, and together they began to construct a profile of the mysterious presence affecting the city. It was precise, intelligent, and careful. Whoever it was, they were not trying to cause harm, but they wanted to be noticed. Alex could feel the tension growing, not fear, but a mixture of excitement and caution. The city itself had become a stage, and someone was performing an intricate, invisible dance across its streets. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across London, Alex noticed something else. The anomalies were becoming more complex. Streetlights were not just flickering, they were following a pattern, creating shapes and sequences across the network. Traffic signals were adjusting in ways that seemed intentional, almost as if someone was trying to communicate. Alex's heart raced. He realized that this was more than a technical issue, it was a message. The hacker was reaching out, testing the boundaries of the city's digital life and daring someone to notice. He stayed late into the evening, working under the soft glow of his desk lamp. The office had emptied, and only the quiet hum of machines remained. Alex's screen displayed a network map of London, with colored lines showing the flow of data and anomalies. He traced each line carefully, following the subtle hints left behind. Patterns began to emerge, resembling abstract designs or cryptic symbols. Alex wondered if the hacker was challenging him, inviting him to follow the trail. It was thrilling and nerve-wracking at the same time, a high-stakes game played in silence across the city he loved. Late at night, Alex took a break and stepped out onto the balcony of Horizon 22. The city below was lit like a canvas of lights, reflecting in the river and stretching toward the horizon. He felt a strange connection to it, almost as if he could see the pulse of life in every street, every building, and every person. The anomalies were part of that pulse, a secret rhythm hidden beneath ordinary life. He imagined the hacker somewhere out there, moving through the city, aware of his investigation. It was both intimidating and exciting. The hours passed quickly, and Alex continued to analyze and record every detail. He noticed subtle shifts in the hacker's pattern, an increase in activity around schools, parks, and hospitals. It was as if the person wanted to draw attention to important places, not to cause chaos, but perhaps to make a point. Alex realized that the city itself was communicating through its systems, guided by a human hand. And in that realization, he felt a new sense of purpose. He was no longer just monitoring data. He was participating in a dialogue, responding to someone who understood the city as deeply as he did. By the early hours of the morning, Alex finally paused to rest. The office was quiet, the city outside almost asleep. He leaned back, exhausted but exhilarated. He knew that the challenges ahead would be complex. Whoever was behind these patterns was intelligent, careful, and creative, yet he also felt determined. He would not just observe. He would understand, follow the trail, and uncover the meaning behind these anomalies. The city was alive, full of stories hidden in its streets, and he was on the path to discovering one of the most mysterious stories of his life. As he packed up and left Horizon 22, Alex felt a mixture of anticipation and caution. London slept beneath a blanket of stars, unaware of the invisible dance taking place across its streets. Yet in that quiet night, the city felt alive in a new way, as if it had secrets waiting to be revealed. Alex walked home slowly, reflecting on what he had learned. He realized that the city was not just a backdrop for life. It was a living, breathing entity, full of hidden signals and silent messages. And he was now part of a story unfolding in real time, a story that would take him deeper into the heart of London than he had ever imagined. By the time he reached his apartment, the city was completely still. He looked out the window at the skyline, lights twinkling like distant stars. His mind replayed the day's discoveries, the patterns, the anomalies, and the subtle messages. The mystery of the hacker, whoever they were, had become a challenge he could not ignore. Alex knew that tomorrow, and every day after, he would return to Horizon 22 with renewed focus. The city had opened a new chapter, and he was determined to read it, line by line, pattern by pattern, until the story revealed itself fully. The morning in London began quietly, with the soft light of dawn creeping over the rooftops and reflecting on the glass windows of skyscrapers. Alex Carter felt a sense of determination as he prepared for the day. After the events of the previous nights, he knew he could no longer simply observe the anomalies from Horizon 22. The patterns, the irregularities, and the subtle messages left by the mysterious hacker demanded action. He needed to step out into the city itself, to see, feel, and follow the pulse of London in real time. With a small backpack carrying his tablet, notebook, and a portable charger, Alex left his apartment. The streets were just beginning to stir. Buses rolled by with commuters, and the occasional bicycle weaved between cars. He moved deliberately, observing the flow of people, traffic, and streetlights. The city had its usual rhythm, but to Alex, the rhythm now held secrets, invisible threads that connected different neighborhoods, streets, and buildings. Every detail mattered. Every small observation could be a clue to understanding the hacker's intentions. His first stop was Shoreditch, an area known for its mix of old warehouses and modern tech offices. The streets here were narrow and often winding, a challenge for the city's traffic algorithms. Alex had noticed anomalies in this area before, streetlights flickering and traffic signals behaving unpredictably. As he walked, he took careful notes. He noticed a pattern in the flickering lights, almost like a rhythm. It wasn't random. Someone had to be controlling it deliberately, testing the system or sending a message. The thought made Alex's pulse quicken. He was no longer just following data on a screen. He was following a trail through the city itself. Alex paused near a small cafe that had been a landmark for years. From here, he could see both the main street and a side alley. His tablet displayed real-time data from Horizon 22's sensors. He watched as the traffic signals adjusted slightly, then returned to normal. He realized the hacker was not causing harm but experimenting. Each irregularity seemed purposeful, almost playful, testing the boundaries of the city's systems. Alex wondered about the person behind it. Who were they? A skilled programmer? A city planner? Or someone who simply understood London in a way few others did? After noting several observations, Alex continued toward Canary Wharf, the financial district where skyscrapers rose like glass towers above the river. Here, the anomalies had been subtler, but they existed. Slight variations in energy usage, small delays in automated systems, and traffic patterns that didn't match the usual rush hour flow. As Alex walked, he imagined the hacker moving through the city like a shadow, invisible to everyone but leaving traces in the digital heartbeat of London. The thought was both thrilling and intimidating. He had never encountered anything like this before. By midday, Alex had gathered enough information to form a rough picture. The anomalies were concentrated in areas of high importance: financial districts, public transportation hubs, and historic neighborhoods. The hacker seemed to know which parts of the city would reveal the most about its inner workings. Alex shared his notes with the Horizon 22 team via secure chat, and they began cross-referencing his observations with the system data. Together, they noticed a recurring theme. The hacker was creating sequences and patterns that might form a larger message or puzzle. It was like a game, and Alex was determined to play. Lunch passed unnoticed as Alex moved through the city, blending observation with analysis. He stopped at a busy intersection near a park, watching the way pedestrians crossed the street, how buses navigated the lanes, and how traffic lights shifted. He noticed a streetlight flicker, then resume normal function. Pulling out his tablet, he compared the live data with Horizon 22's system logs. There it was again, the subtle signature of someone testing the city's response. Alex realized the hacker's goal was not chaos, but understanding and influencing patterns. They wanted someone to notice, and now he had. In the afternoon, Alex's path took him to Westminster, where historic buildings and modern infrastructure coexisted. The hacker's patterns here were particularly intricate. Automated signs adjusted their timing, small sensors activated in unusual sequences, and traffic lights seemed to follow a silent code. Alex stopped near the river, looking at the water reflecting the sunlight. He felt a strange connection between the city, its systems, and the invisible hand guiding them. It was as if London itself had become a living puzzle, waiting for someone to decode it. The city grew busier as the day progressed. Tourists, workers, and locals filled the streets, creating a natural rhythm that both hid and revealed the hacker's influence. Alex moved carefully, taking mental notes and sketching rough diagrams. He realized that some anomalies were almost artistic, flickers and shifts forming patterns that made no functional difference, but carried a visual or mathematical rhythm. Whoever was behind this was creative, intelligent, and patient. They understood the city in a way that few could, and they had chosen Alex, whether intentionally or by chance, to witness their work. As evening approached, Alex returned toward Horizon 22, stopping at various points along the way to check sensors and traffic monitors. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the streets. The hacker's patterns began to shift, almost as if they were aware of his movements. Alex could not see the person, but he felt their presence in the digital signatures left behind. It was a silent conversation, a challenge, and a collaboration all at once. The city had become a stage, and he and the hacker were the only participants in this invisible play. Back at Horizon 22, Alex connected his tablet to the central system and began analyzing the day's data. The anomalies formed a complex network of signals that seemed to interconnect different parts of the city. He noticed repeating sequences, subtle adjustments, and signs of intentional design. It was clear now that the hacker was not random. They were leaving a message. The question was, what was it? And why did they choose this method of communication? Alex felt a mix of excitement and determination. He knew that uncovering this message would require patience, intelligence, and careful observation. Late into the night, Alex continued his work, tracing signals, comparing patterns, and running simulations. The office was quiet except for the soft hum of computers and the occasional beep of a notification. Outside, London had settled into a calm rhythm, with lights shimmering in the river and streets mostly empty. Yet beneath this calm, the city's systems continued to pulse with the subtle influence of the hacker. Alex realized that he was witnessing something extraordinary, a dialogue not of words, but of patterns, sequences, and rhythms embedded in the very life of the city. By the early hours, Alex paused to rest. He looked out at the skyline, the lights reflecting on the Thames like a river of stars. He thought about the day's observations, the patterns he had seen, and the invisible hand guiding them. He felt a deep sense of connection, not just to the hacker, but to the city itself. London was alive, intricate, and full of secrets. And he was now part of one of its hidden stories, a story written not in books or newspapers, but in data, signals, and subtle rhythms that only a careful observer could understand. Alex knew that tomorrow would bring more challenges. The hacker's methods would grow more complex, and the patterns would continue to evolve. But he also felt a sense of purpose and excitement. He was not merely a bystander. He was an active participant in a living puzzle, a detective of sorts, tracing the invisible threads that connected the heart of London. With each observation, he grew closer to understanding the message, the intent, and the person behind it. As he finally left Horizon 22 for the night, Alex walked through the quiet streets, reflecting on the day's discoveries. London was sleeping, yet the city's systems continued to move, guided by both human life and the subtle touch of the hacker. Alex felt ready for the journey ahead, knowing that patience, focus, and creativity would be his greatest tools. The horizon of the city stretched before him, full of challenges, mysteries, and opportunities. And for the first time, he understood that his work was no longer just about technology. It was about the city itself, its rhythm, its secrets, and the invisible stories that pulsed through its streets. The following morning, London was bathed in a soft, golden light, casting long shadows across the streets and reflecting on the glass towers that dotted the skyline. Alex Carter arrived at Horizon 22 with a sense of anticipation that made his steps quick and purposeful. After days of tracing patterns, analyzing data, and observing the subtle anomalies in the city, he felt closer than ever to understanding the mystery behind the hacker. Today was different. He was determined to move beyond observation and begin confronting the challenge head-on. At his desk, Alex opened the system and reviewed the overnight data. The anomalies had not ceased. If anything, they had become more deliberate, more complex. Streetlights flashed in intricate sequences, traffic signals shifted in unusual rhythms, and certain sensors recorded activity that did not match the natural flow of the city. The hacker was no longer testing the city's response in small ways. They were escalating, perhaps aware that someone was following their trail. Alex's pulse quickened. Every flicker, every deviation, every unexpected pattern was a clue, a step closer to a confrontation that he had long anticipated. He called his team into the conference room. Today's meeting was tense but focused. Charts, maps, and graphs covered the screens, each displaying sequences of activity that suggested intention rather than randomness. Alex explained his theory. The hacker was communicating through the city, leaving traces that could only be understood by someone paying close attention. His colleagues nodded, some anxious, others excited. They realized that this was no ordinary technical problem. This was a puzzle, a silent dialogue between the hacker and the city itself, and Alex was leading the conversation. By mid-morning, Alex decided to venture into the areas that had shown the most complex patterns. He started with Canary Wharf, the financial district. The streets were crowded with office workers and delivery vehicles, but Alex's attention was fixed on the digital footprints displayed on his tablet. Each anomaly revealed subtle signs of intention. A traffic signal that shifted at exactly the wrong moment to create a small delay, a streetlight that dimmed in sync with another across the river. To the casual observer, nothing seemed unusual. But Alex saw the precision, the careful orchestration. The hacker was not causing harm. They were creating a performance, a message encoded in the city itself. As he moved through the district, Alex paused near a pedestrian bridge that overlooked the river. From this vantage point, he could see several streets at once. His tablet displayed the live data feed, showing signals, anomalies, and adjustments in real time. He noticed that the patterns were forming a larger sequence, like puzzle pieces coming together. Someone had designed these movements thoughtfully, intentionally, as if they wanted Alex to see them, to follow them. The thought made him both nervous and exhilarated. He felt a strange connection to the hacker, even though he had never met them. Alex's path took him next to the historic areas near Westminster. Here, the challenges were different. Narrow streets, old buildings, and dense crowds made the hacker's movements harder to detect. Yet the anomalies were still present, automated signs adjusting their timing, small sensors activating in unusual sequences, and streetlights that flickered in patterns reminiscent of Morse code. Alex paused frequently, taking careful notes, photographing certain locations, and comparing live observations with Horizon 22's system data. Each detail brought him closer to understanding the hacker's intentions. By early afternoon, Alex realized that the hacker's patterns were leading him toward a central location, Horizon 22 itself. The realization was both thrilling and intimidating. The hacker had created a trail, guiding him to the very heart of the system he helped manage. It was as if they wanted to meet, not physically perhaps, but intellectually, through their shared understanding of the city's systems. Alex felt a surge of determination. He would follow the trail, step by step, and confront the mystery directly. He returned to Horizon 22 and began analyzing the central data hub. The anomalies were concentrated in specific nodes, places that controlled streetlights, traffic flows, and energy distribution. Alex mapped the sequences carefully, connecting each pattern like dots on a page. Slowly, an image began to emerge, a series of instructions, hints, and subtle challenges left by the hacker. They were testing him, pushing his understanding, and preparing him for what lay ahead. Alex felt a mixture of excitement and caution. Whoever the hacker was, they were brilliant, meticulous, and patient. As evening approached, Alex prepared for the next step. He activated a series of mobile monitoring stations around the building, allowing him to track the anomalies as they occurred in real time. The office was quiet except for the low hum of computers and the occasional click of a keyboard. Outside, London began to transform as night fell. Streetlights illuminated the streets, the river reflected the city lights, and the city's rhythm shifted to a quieter, steadier pace. Yet beneath this calm, the hacker continued their subtle movements, guiding Alex toward the ultimate confrontation. Late into the night, the patterns intensified. Alex noticed that certain sequences repeated with increasing complexity, almost as if the hacker were leaving a final message. Streetlights flashed in coordinated waves, traffic signals created intricate delays, and energy nodes responded with precise timing. It was no longer just observation. It was a communication, a challenge, and an invitation all at once. Alex leaned closer to his screen, tracing each line, each pulse, and each flicker with careful attention. He could feel the hacker's presence, invisible but palpable, moving through the city like a silent conductor. Finally, a pattern emerged that could not be ignored. It led directly to a rooftop near Horizon 22, offering a clear view of the city below. Alex realized that the hacker had orchestrated the entire sequence to bring him to this location. Heart racing, he grabbed his tablet and climbed the service stairs to the rooftop. The city stretched out before him, illuminated in a patchwork of lights and shadows. The patterns on his tablet aligned perfectly with the streets, signals, and lights he could see in real life. It was as if the city itself had become a canvas for the hacker's final message. Alex took a deep breath and scanned the rooftop. There was no one there, yet the sense of presence was strong. Every light, every flicker, every shift in the city below seemed purposeful. He realized that the hacker had created a moment of understanding, a point of connection between them without ever appearing in person. It was both frustrating and brilliant. Alex felt a mix of awe and admiration. This was more than a technical puzzle. It was an expression of intelligence, creativity, and an intimate understanding of the city itself. Hours passed as Alex studied the final sequences. He documented everything meticulously, tracing each signal, recording every anomaly, and noting the patterns that repeated. Slowly, he began to decode the hacker's message. It was not a warning nor a threat. It was a reminder that technology, while powerful, must be guided by responsibility, understanding, and respect for the people it serves. The hacker wanted to teach, challenge, and provoke thought. And in doing so, they had led Alex to a new understanding of his own role within the city. By the early morning, Alex finally allowed himself to rest. He looked out at London, the city alive with the quiet rhythm of dawn. Streetlights dimmed, traffic picked up, and the city returned to its normal pace. Yet beneath this apparent normality, the lessons of the night remained. Alex had been challenged, guided, and inspired by an invisible hand. He realized that the hacker's intent was not destruction, but collaboration, a silent partnership between two minds who understood the pulse of London's digital life. As he left the rooftop and descended to his desk, Alex felt a profound sense of purpose. The city was not just a backdrop for his work. It was an active participant, a living entity shaped by both human life and technology. And the hacker, though unseen, had become a mentor of sorts, guiding him toward a deeper understanding of responsibility, creativity, and the power of observation. Alex knew that this experience would change the way he approached his work, his team, and the city itself. By the time he stepped outside Horizon 22, the sun was rising, casting soft light across the streets. London was waking, unaware of the silent drama that had unfolded in its digital veins. Alex walked through the streets, reflecting on the night's events. He felt a deep connection to the city, to its systems, and to the unseen hacker who had challenged him so brilliantly. The journey was far from over, but he now understood the true horizon of his work, not just the technology, but the people, the patterns, and the life of the city itself. Alex returned home with a sense of calm determination. The hacker's trail had led him to new knowledge, deeper insight, and a renewed sense of purpose. He knew that the city of London was full of stories, patterns, and hidden rhythms waiting to be discovered. And he was ready to face the next chapter, guided by the lessons learned, the challenges overcome, and the silent collaboration that had transformed his understanding of both the city and his own place within it. The city of London began its day under a soft, golden light that reflected off glass buildings, danced across the river, and highlighted the historic streets below. For Alex Carter, the morning felt different. The experiences of the past several days, the anomalies, the patterns, the invisible guidance of the hacker, had transformed his understanding of the city. As he walked toward Horizon 22, he felt a quiet sense of purpose. Today, it was no longer about chasing clues or deciphering signals. It was about understanding, reflecting, and applying what he had learned. Inside Horizon 22, the atmosphere was calm but purposeful. Colleagues arrived, exchanging greetings and settling at their desks. Alex greeted them warmly, sharing subtle smiles, but kept his focus. He reviewed the system one final time, observing how the anomalies from the previous nights had evolved. The patterns were still present, but less frequent, less urgent. It was as if the hacker had completed their challenge and now allowed the city to resume its natural rhythm. Alex felt a sense of completion, a quiet acknowledgement that the lessons had been delivered, and it was now up to him and the team to act on them. He gathered the Horizon 22 team for a morning meeting. The large glass conference room offered a view of the bustling city below, where buses moved steadily, pedestrians crossed streets in orderly patterns, and the river flowed calmly under the bridges. Alex shared his observations, the decoded patterns, and the insights he had gained. His colleagues listened intently, some nodding in agreement, others asking thoughtful questions. It was a discussion not just about technology, but about responsibility, ethics, and the relationship between humans and the systems they create. Alex explained the key lesson he had learned. The city was a living network, influenced not only by technology, but by the people who moved, worked, and lived within it. The hacker's message had been clear: technology without understanding and care could not serve its purpose fully. Systems were powerful, but they needed oversight, creativity, and empathy. The team discussed how they could implement improvements in Horizon 22's projects, from more thoughtful traffic management algorithms to systems that prioritized energy efficiency while considering the human experience. It was a productive, reflective conversation that left everyone feeling inspired and responsible. After the meeting, Alex decided to take a walk through the city. He moved through areas he had explored during the hacker's challenge: Shoreditch, Canary Wharf, Westminster. The streets seemed familiar, yet somehow different. He noticed small details he had missed before: the gentle sway of trees along the river, the way light reflected off building windows, the rhythm of pedestrians moving together as if part of a larger pattern. The city felt alive in a new way. Every street, every signal, every movement was connected, part of a story that he now understood more deeply. As Alex walked, he reflected on the hacker. Though unseen, the person had taught him invaluable lessons. They had challenged his understanding, pushed him to observe more closely, and made him appreciate the subtle beauty of a city alive with both human and technological activity. He realized that the hacker's intention was not to cause disruption, but to inspire reflection. It was a lesson in patience, observation, and responsibility, a reminder that progress required mindfulness. Alex felt a profound sense of gratitude, even for the uncertainty and tension that had characterized the past days. Returning to Horizon 22, Alex began implementing the changes he and his team had discussed. He refined algorithms, adjusted monitoring systems, and created safeguards to prevent misuse of the city's infrastructure. Each adjustment was done thoughtfully, with consideration for both efficiency and human impact. He realized that the hacker's challenge was not just a test of technical skill, but a call to think ethically and creatively about the systems that supported city life. With each change, he felt a sense of accomplishment, knowing that the city would function more smoothly and responsibly because of what he had learned. By late afternoon, Alex paused to look out from the top floor of Horizon 22. The city stretched out beneath him, a patchwork of streets, parks, buildings, and lights. Traffic flowed steadily, people moved purposefully, and the river shimmered in the sunlight. The anomalies that had once seemed so mysterious were now a memory, a challenge overcome. Yet the lessons remained vivid in his mind. He realized that the city, like the patterns he had studied, was full of hidden rhythms, connections, and messages. Understanding them required patience, observation, and respect, a principle he would carry forward in both work and life. As evening approached, Alex walked along the riverbank. The lights of London reflected beautifully on the water, creating a serene atmosphere. He passed familiar landmarks, the bridges, historic buildings, and modern towers, seeing them in a new light. Everything seemed interconnected, each element part of a larger story that went beyond individual streets or buildings. Alex felt a deep sense of harmony with the city, a connection that was both intellectual and emotional. He understood that the city's true horizon was not its skyline, but the life, stories, and rhythms that pulsed through it every day. The night settled over London, quiet but alive with activity. Alex paused on a bridge, looking at the river flowing beneath him. He thought of the hacker once more, invisible yet profoundly influential. Their work had sparked a transformation, not just in the city's systems, but in his understanding of responsibility, creativity, and ethical technology. He realized that progress was not measured only in efficiency or innovation, but in the care and thoughtfulness applied to every decision. The hacker had demonstrated this without a word, using patterns and systems to communicate a powerful lesson. By the end of the night, Alex returned to Horizon 22 one final time. The office was quiet, illuminated softly by screens and lamps. He reviewed the data, checked the systems, and ensured that all adjustments were functioning correctly. The anomalies had ceased, and the city's systems were operating smoothly. Alex felt a sense of closure, a satisfaction that came from having faced a challenge, learned from it, and applied that knowledge responsibly. He realized that the hacker's legacy would continue in every careful decision he and his team made, guiding the city toward a better, more thoughtful future. In the days that followed, life in London returned to its usual rhythm. Traffic flowed smoothly, energy usage stabilized, and the city's systems operated with precision. Yet, beneath this apparent normality, the lessons remained. Alex continued to observe, analyze, and improve the systems, always remembering the challenge posed by the hacker. The experience had changed him, deepening his understanding of technology, ethics, and the living pulse of the city. He felt a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that his work had both practical and meaningful impact. One evening, Alex walked along a quiet street near the river, reflecting on everything he had experienced. He thought of the city's people, their daily routines, interactions, and subtle rhythms. He realized that technology alone could never fully capture the life of a city. Understanding, empathy, and observation were equally important. The hacker's challenge had been more than a technical puzzle. It had been a reminder to consider the human side of every system, every algorithm, and every decision. Alex felt grateful for the experience and ready to carry its lessons forward. As he looked across the Thames, the city lights twinkling like stars on the water, Alex felt a sense of peace and accomplishment. He understood that Horizon 22, the city, and the systems they managed were not just tools or infrastructure. They were living networks shaped by both human life and thoughtful technology. The hacker had challenged him, guided him, and inspired him. And in doing so, they had transformed not only his work but his perspective on the city itself. By the time Alex returned home that night, London had settled into a quiet rhythm. The streets were calm, the river shimmered under the moonlight, and the city seemed to breathe with a steady, gentle pulse. Alex looked out over the skyline one last time before going to bed, reflecting on the journey he had completed. He had faced a challenge, learned profound lessons, and helped ensure that the city would function responsibly and thoughtfully in the days to come. The horizon of London, he realized, was not just its skyline. It was the ongoing life, connections, and care that made the city truly remarkable. Alex finally lay down to rest, a sense of fulfillment washing over him. The city continued its quiet, steady rhythm outside his window, alive with stories, movement, and invisible patterns. He knew that challenges would arise again, new problems would appear, and technology would continue to evolve. But he also knew that with careful observation, responsibility, and creativity, the city could thrive in harmony. The hacker's message had been clear, silent, and profound. And Alex, now wiser and more thoughtful, was ready to carry it forward, guiding both the systems and the people of London toward a brighter, more connected future.